Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another podcast of Next Initiatives. Today is my great pleasure to welcome, I believe I can say that, our very good friend or friends from Viseven. I'm really pleased to welcome Nataliya Andreychuk, the co-founder of Viseven. And let's start a little bit here and ask you, hi, Natalia, how are you doing?
Hello, Dario. Actually, I'm very happy, and it is Happy Friday. Despite there is a lot of work because autumn is our busiest season, we do have a great time, and we have time to share together. So thanks for invitation.
Likewise, we will of course meet in 10 days in Vienna, so looking very much forward to new insights from V7 as one of the leading vendors when it comes to content creation for pharma. So, Natalia, for you, today we prepared four, I believe from our angle, tough questions, but I'm sure it will be very easy for you to answer since, like we said, you are the content expert for many pharma companies. And the first question which I have for you today is, do you notice a significant difference in the effectiveness of pharma companies that prioritize story making compared to those who don't? And also maybe to build on that, how does this impact their engagement with key audience?
I think story making is rather a new concept. It's not entirely new, but this is a newest concept if we are comparing it to storytelling. What is special about story making? First of all, it is two-way street. When we are telling a story, we much more focusing on the product, much more focusing on the promotion part of the story. Very often, let's be honest. When we are talking about story making, this is the both ways street where we are making our stories together with our patients, like taking cases, with our HCPs, with our sales reps, with all the target audience we have together. The companies who are using these concepts, story making, they do have the better, I would say, humanizing aspect of the story. So they can humanize, if I may say so, the complex scientific aspect of our industry. So there is a lot of help. We can talk about AI and its contribution into that. We can talk about the tools like Wizard and the contribution in it. So there are a lot of technical achievements during the last times which are allowing us to do so. But first and the most, we are with the story making, we are actually standing out of the crowd. We are reusing all the isolated pieces of our product story, and we are actually building them together using all the new means of communication and tools and bringing it to the client. So that's totally a bigger benefit because the most chances to be heard and to be reused.
Thank you so much. 100% agree with you. And I would say, maybe to build on that, it's even a shame that pharma just now started to think about that in a much more structured and significant way. So thank you very much for the very good answer. Next question. With the rise of AI, of course, you can't skip a question about AI, right? Do you see it is a threat for authentic story making, or can it enhance the process? And how do you envision AI playing a role in storytelling for pharma in the future?
I think AI is rather the enabler, not a threat, because even today we have a entirely new culture when we say not AI is creating this and that. We are saying I have created it with AI. So this is the whole change of the perception of AI. AI as enabler, AI as enhancement, not a threat. So what we can say about story making and AI. Of course, it is working with the data-driven approach and data-driven personalization, because this is the task for AI. And this is where we can work with vast amount of patient data. We can provide a lot of individual experiences and insights, of course, in the frame of our regulations and data protection. But we do have a lot of opportunities to work with highly personalized stories, and they will definitely resonate with a specific patient. Like we have many cases where the stories were especially with the rare diseases, the cases were able to open the new patients for this exact treatment, and we were able to diagnose them better and to invite for the treatment. So, and it was just the digital email campaign, but with the highly personalized content, and with this data we have been reusing. So that was really possible. Of course, we will be moving forward not only with the data, with the optimization of the work we have. So automated creating of the story messages for our stories, the scaling. This will be enhancing the scaling of this automated story making. So scaling is also the AI work. So that's for sure. So that's why I think it is enablement. It is not a threat.
Definitely. Next question. What are the key elements of creating compelling and impactful stories that resonate with both patients and HCPs in the pharma industry?
This is a very good question. Thank you. So first of all, we have to think about patient-centric focus. This is always our target. This is always on the first pages. So we have to be patient-centric, and if having patient at the center, this is the most powerful. This will help us to create the most powerful message. These stories about which are addressing patient journeys, they are addressing patient challenges, hopes, fears, and successes. They are the biggest success and the biggest hope and the biggest support for everyone. Of course, we have to make sure that we have clear and engaging messaging, right? So usually we have complex scientific concepts. So what we can do with nowadays technology and the approach of story making, we can simplify these scientific concepts. We can summarize them and humanize them in the human readable language, which will be actually understandable by many categories of patients and like the audience, like us ourselves, right? So that will make sure that this will be a great success of those story making. Of course, we have to think like most of the information today is very visual. It is video, so it's very visual and appealing. So the formats of our discussions, they are changing. So no one wants to read the long messages. Everyone wants to see and to hear the engaging video. So we have to think about how to deliver those messages better. We shouldn't be scared like to create avatars which are delivering the message, because they are mostly unbiased. They can be pre-recorded. They can deliver on 70+ languages, whatever. So they can do a really good job in delivering a story. But this story must be, first of all, about like patient-centric, clear messages with the use of a new means of communication, like translated, personalized, and delivered in the humanized scientific language.
Absolutely. And last question which you prepared, and it's relatively long. which is reflecting on challenges that we encountered so far. What are some common pitfalls in storytelling, and what lessons can be learned to create more effective narratives moving forward? I think a special focus on narratives, right? And how can companies ensure their stories continues to evolve and improve?
This is a very long questions indeed. I believe someone can put the whole PhD work based on this question
Absolutely.
because this is that deep and that important. I think we have to think about following. Do not be too product centric. So if we have a patient in the center, we must have the problem in the center, and we must be more problem solving and delivering message not too product oriented, but problem solving message. Very often when we read the message, so we have too much data, right? It could be overloaded with data, and there are even some, scientific jargonism, what we can tell this. So there are a lot of words which are non-understandable for people who do not have this specific knowledge. So whenever we are making a story, science is crucial, yes, and we must focus on science and data, but we must find the healthy balance between complex terminology and data, and between human language and understanding. So this healthy balance and patient-friendly explanations make really a big difference. So in our stories, which are we are creating, also we very often we are just ignoring emotional engagement. I think this is the pitfall which was brought with the digitalization era, because with the digitalization we started to really work more with digital channels, which are less empathetic than face-to-face meetings. Even with the screen events like webinar and podcasts, very few of us can transfer the emotion and this create this engagement through the screen. So this is important. Like, we are not ignoring this, and if we want to have a purely informational story, and we want to engage on the emotional level, so that this emotional level will create the connections we are looking for. So we have to use these elements, the hope, fear, triumph, and really share them with the audience. So to be like we were talking in the beginning of this podcast, so the stories must be humanized. So we must be more humans in our messaging, in our stories, whatever format we will use, either the short videos, or this is a face-to-face meeting, or this is a podcast or webinar. The message must be more human-like. So and again, we are all about personalization, and we do have lack of those personalization, because why we are actually failing to personalize the story. um, we have we are still working on the segmentation, and sky is the limit. So this is this is never ending story, because we are constantly figuring out that there is a new category, a new potential category of customers, of audience, of patients, of doctors, because they are somehow different from those with whom we are talking. Personalization is a science and an art, and it is the continuous process, and it depends where we are in this process of personalization, using our own data to understand our audience. So it means we are more successful or we are less successful. So, and once if we evolve in the art of personalizations, means we are having omni-channel as a strategy. We are using the automation tools. We are knowing the data, and we are transferring the data into our audience to figure out how well we know them, and then we apply the personalized messages to the audience. Means like we know their story. It's not only calling them by name or personalizing by translating and changing the I don't know, cultural things or nationalities. It is not. It is actually knowing their story, as we were talking earlier about rare diseases, and knowing the story of these patients must engage and will engage patients who are close to this story. And this is the real personalization, and that's why we need AI, because this is so massive data package, so which will be not able to work as a human. So that's why we have all the aspects: AI, personalization, and avoiding these pitfalls where we are having less of all of it.
Thank you very much, Natalia. Very great insights. And I believe with that we teased also our engagement for the next Customer Experience and AI conference in Vienna, where we will also speak about those particular insights and learnings in the panel where we were also present. So I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you so much for joining this very, very interesting podcast.
Dario, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be in the next 10 days in Vienna, and I'm happy to talk and to understand and communicate and network about all of these topics we have discussed today, including channels and technologies, future of pharma engagement, making a story over telling a story, being empathetic and being human over being product centric and being scientific. So I'm very much engaged in all of these aspects of our daily work, and will be happy to communicate with all of you in Vienna.
Thank you so much. Looking to the next one.